business, going around training different law enforcement agencies.
Oh, that's
and,
how you got into the detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And stuff, and one day he goes, "Hey, I'm retiring. I'm moving to Italy, and I'm giving you the Martinez School." And so,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, we've had so many guests come on and say schools were given to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
and
was like,
that's
the guy just gave me the school. He dropped the keys in here. And
He said, "Here, George,
yeah,
I'm done."
Yeah. And of course, you know, I was that kid in high school that, you know, when I had to get time to stand up and do a book report,
Right.
I'd call in sick, man. I'd take the thermometer. Look, Mom, 102. I'm dying. Just so I wouldn't have to stand up in front of a group of people.
Wow.
And now your job is to stand in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, you know, I was like the assistant instructor, but I wasn't the one that had to stand up there.
Right.
And Ollie turned that over to me, and I was like, and Ollie goes, "Well, what do you think I took you underneath my wings? For you to hold all this knowledge into yourself?
Right. And to keep
Man, you got to keep this rolling."
That's awesome.
And so that's just kind of how it started, and ended up loving it. And we did some knife tactics and stuff, but when I was a correctional officer for 31 years for the county of Napa, and
Were you actually ever a police officer on the beat and all that stuff, or did you just bypass?
I did both. I was a deputy with Solano, and then of course it was like 1986, and there was a big layoff, and then in '88 I got hired by the county of Napa. And my goal was just to work for them a few years and then go back to the streets. But I didn't want to be that low man on the totem pole
Yeah,
that got laid off. So, you know, it turned it into, well, I'm just going to stay here 5 years. Oh, I think I'll make it to 15. And, you know,
31 years later.
Yeah, 31 years. I think it's time to leave.
That's
5 more minutes.
Yeah.
5 more minutes.
But no, Napa County was awesome. Awesome. I end up, you know, it was really weird. I ended up actually like dealing with what I dealt with. I mean, there was some stuff I didn't like, but being a CEO for 31 years, you get to see a lot of ugly things in the world. But I had an inmate in my early career try and stab me. You know, tried to stab me like my first year there, and coming out of the dining room.
That's always fun.
Yeah, and
that's always.
Well, he is also the
and so I
second
went,
6'4" guy we know that got stabbed like in the first year of his CO.
Yeah, and so I went back, and I did good. You know, he didn't make it, and I ended up coming out of it, but it woke me up to a lot of questions.
Wow.
And a lot of the knife defense that I've learned wasn't practical. And so I started researching and trying to find ways, because I went back to my law enforcement mentors and I asked them, "Hey man, how do we deal with knives?" And of course it was, "Well, you shoot them." And I go, "Well, you know, hey, I'm all down for that, but I work in a jail. We don't get guns." Right. "Well, then run." "Well, you know, I got a small confined area. Where am I going to run to?" And
blind corners and
you know. So I started searching out. You know, more edge weapons, and I remember seeing tactical knives, and I opened that up, and this is back in the like mid '80s, early '90s, and there were guys like Michael Janich, Kelly Warden, James Keating, and so I hooked up with James Keating, and he taught kind of a hybrid renegade Jeet Kune Do. And kind of a Spanish influence, and that's where my love for knives just really peaked, and that's all I wanted to study. I wasn't all about sticks and stuff. It was just
an edged weapon.
Yeah, I wanted to know everything I could learn about edge weapons, and so I trained with James Keating for a long time. And this kind of then Steve Triani was doing a seminar down in Southern California, so I flew down there and trained with him, and Steve and I just hit it off, and he took me underneath his wings, and the Karambit. I know it's like you got Karambit.
Steve, did you get one from CJ?
Huh?
Did CJ give you a Karambit?
But Steve Triani, it was kind of a combination between Steve Triani. The reason the Karambit is where it is today is a lot had to do with Steve Triani.
Really?
Yeah, because Pat Kerman Sawanda and his wife and a couple students were in Germany and were killed in an auto accident. And one of Steve's goals was to propagate and promote the karambit, and so he really started pushing it. But and it was kind of a tie between him and Ernie Emerson, who came out with the first karambit.
That's the name you remember most.
Yeah, that's the funny.
Emerson Wave.
Yeah.
But I was real fortunate enough to have Steve include me in on that adventure, and when karambits first started coming out, I had custom knife makers call me up. Hey man, can you send me a picture of that? Oh man, we don't want to do that. That's a waste of too much material. And now every time you turn around, man, you see karambits everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, you know, when you watch Forged in Fire, and Doug and stuff, and
Doug.
Now he and his karambits and what he does with those, and his dart is an amazing knife that he created.
Oh yeah, I love but the reason, I mean, to me, and from what I've seen, the reason the karambit is popular today really had to do a lot with Steve Tarani's promotion, because we were at the 2001 Blade Show in Atlanta, and that was the big introduction for bringing karambits out.
Because he did a lot too, you said, right?
Yeah. So he brought in a lot of the Pinchat, Marty Mudas a lot, and worked it off from there, and it was really good. Good promotion, and then within 2-3 years later, man, everybody. But that's where the root, the seed, I should say, that's where the seed was planted. And
I never knew this part of that's kind of cool.
That's where the seed was planted.
Oh, and he was there.
So and then and of course I count myself lucky because I was able to train with Eddie Lastra and Lastra Arnese, and
wow, you're bringing up some really old names.
Well, and so before I started training with Grandmaster Haran, I was teaching a law enforcement class, and I have this elder Filipino guy in my class, and of course I really push a lot of the FMA in my law enforcement class as far as footwork and everything, and Grandmaster John Bias comes up to me, this is before I knew who he was, and he goes, "You move good. I like what you teach. I want to teach you."
I want to teach you. After complimenting
and I'm going, okay. He goes, "At break, I want to see what you have." And so during one of the breaks, he came at me with a knife and pop, 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 pop. And he goes, "Oh, you're good. I'm going to take you on as one of my students." And I'm like, okay. And he goes, "You come at me with a knife." And it was like, wham! Wham! And I mean, like, next thing you know, I'm getting hit from every direction, and that's where the bonding started. And I trained especially underneath him in his family system. In his family system.
It almost seems like a reoccurring story with a lot of martial artists, that there's always that one or two guys that pick up on you and say, "Hey, you have something about you that I want to teach."
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but
it happens quite often with a lot of these. There's even Mickey, coach. He says, "Yeah, Stella came over, punched me in the chest, and I never looked back."
And it's weird. It's weird because this is why I say, someone's looking over me and guided me in the right direction and hooked me up and sent the right people in, or put me in the path of the right people. And I look back every day, and I'm just so grateful that I've had the mentors that I've had in this, and this is kind of where I'm at today, was because of them, and that they saw something in me.
You may not still see.
So
I have no idea what it is, but they saw it.
But and the sticks, my love for the sticks and everything came later, because my primary focus was on edge weapons, and then I wanted something to give back to the law enforcement community. So I kind of designed my own survival of edge weapons, and gosh, for about like 6 years, I did these big seminars, big global seminars.
You ever thinking of writing books, or do you have a book out? You writing a book at all?
I've started. I started, and
How did I know that?
Yeah, and I'm still, eventually I'm going to get one done, but I kind of started on two. One was on the palm stick, and one was on edge weapon survival. And I got about halfway through, then just other things just came up in life, but I still have them. I still have everything saved on disc and stuff. And now I'm venturing off into knife making.
How did you end up in Oregon? I mean, because I remember
here, you said Napa County,
all of a sudden he goes,
31 years.
Yeah.
My grandmother is 100 years old. Wow. And and I had always promised to take care of her when she couldn't anymore, and so I kept that promise.
Oh wow, that's a stand-up guy right here,
dude. I would, from being an asshole when he was a kid, getting into trouble, blah blah blah, and then coming out and then remembering grandma.
Yeah, yep. And awesome. My grandma's getting this January. She's going to be 101. So,
cool. Still strong, very healthy.
She's healthy, but
weakening down.
Yeah. A lot of. But she's an incredible woman in herself. I mean, she
100 years. Wow.
Yeah. Born in 1920 and on a farm, and ended up becoming one of the very first female surveyors for Pac Bell back in the time where women holding high positions wasn't. So she was a trendsetter. She broke barriers.
So can we get her on the show?
I was going to say, when are we going to Oregon?
We travel.
So I'm basically fulfilling a promise there.
Right.
And my wife, she takes care of her aunt, her mom, and so.
So they're out there too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So.
That's pretty cool.
Wow. So did you meet your wife out here? Did she happen to have family in Oregon, or?
Yeah, we met out here, but she had her family moved to Oregon when they retired, and all my family's practically from Oregon. I mean,
so you originally you lived down there before?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
my whole family, they came out on the Oregon Trail. I still got stuff from them.
I kept wondering, can you trace your ancestry back to Vikings? Because you strike me as a Viking.
Yeah. Yeah.
You always say, the Viking.
Yeah, I gotta. I'm such a Heinz 57, but Norwegian, Scottish, Irish, German. So Vikings. That's probably my love for the blade.
What do you think of the way? What do you think of this path of martial arts going into it with the MMA, UFC, and all that stuff? Because you're a big guy. I'm surprised you haven't jumped in there.
Well, I've been fortunate enough. I got to train with some really Jerry Bolander. He was one of the before Dana White took over, but even he fought under the Dana White card. He was one of the at one time, man. He was one of the top UFC guys around,
right.
And now he does law enforcement too now. He was smart enough. The nice thing is Jerry knew. He goes, hey man, this is a career, but it's not a long endeavor career.
No, then it becomes breakdown.
He's done great, and I got to train with him because on my when I turned 50, I entered into a couple smoker rings just to see if I still had it. And so I trained with him for
the rules are kind of lax. You just kind
of Well, it's good to see where the UFC and the MMA is. I think some people get the two kind of confused. Right. One being sport versus one being martial arts self-defense. And that isn't to take away anything from they do. I mean, you're talking some top athlete. But you figure if you look at the status on how many people are training in the MMA with a goal to be that number one, you're talking there's more make it out in injuries than actually make it to the top.
Definitely.
you know, and but you're talking supreme athletes there, you know,
Oh yeah.
and stuff. As far as for self-defense, one's sport, one's not, and there's two different rules. You know,
and you have the video to prove it.
Yeah. But that isn't to take away from them, because
Right.
No,
I think everybody you have to be, if you put all your eggs in one basket.
Well, yeah, and that's why I brought it up, because I you know, looking at somebody as big as you are, and the way you move, and like we said, you move like a small person. I've always been curious as to why you didn't go in there, because that has become such a thing, though. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was all about, I wanted to make it to retirement. I wanted to make my career in law enforcement to retirement with all the digits that I started out with,
Right.
and not having to go out in a walker
Right.
or a back brace. And after some of the things that I've seen in my law enforcement career, and how many people were injured and some stupid stuff that ended their career,
Right.
I made sure I had a good ground game, a good stand-up game, and a good dealing with weapons game.
Wow.
So I did learn some grappling. I learned how to do stand-up, joint locks, everything else, and it ended up being, because now I had this knowledge, and I pass it on. But a lot of times when I had to deal with a combative person in the jail, because I was comfortable on the physical side of the combat, I had more fun talking them down, because when I already know
Beating
that
up
if I
is easy.
yeah,
Stop.
yeah,
Beating
Stop
up is
it.
easy.
Yeah, well,
Talking to
because-
them, that's for the deal.
well, because a lot of times the confrontation started because it's like, I don't know if I can take this guy, and you jump in there because you didn't
Right.
want to be behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And I wasn't worried about that part. I wasn't worried about that
Well,
part.
you're, like I said, like we keep saying, you're a big guy. There's not a lot of people who are just going to come over. And
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah. Alcohol, fuel, dope, and rage people.
Yeah.
They don't care about
I get
size.
it, yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, they
know.
grew up pair of walls when they're
That's
drinking.
a
That's
valid
what it
point.
is.
That's a valid point. That's a valid
I mean, I had little guys. The things they used to say, what they're going to do to me after they get done beating me up, and of course, but once you're comfortable in that part, and you know that you can handle it on the physical side, can you beat them on the mental side?
Right.
And so I had more fun talking people down, and
That's funny.
and
Well,
and I would have never thought of it that way, though.
the fight not fought.
Yeah.
it's a fight, not fight. Exactly. I don't have to go there.
Right.
And I know that should it go there, it will be based off his actions,
No, yours.
not
yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
And I never took it personal.
Yeah, I think that's the other part of fighting too, is that you
Never
can't
took
take those
anything
things. So,
personal.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
But that's what starts fights, though. It's always
Yeah.
personal.
It's always personal.
Never,
start calling somebody's mom something.
right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what it was. That's all it took for me in school,
Oh yeah. Well, and
and I didn't even like my mom so much.
yeah.
You just
Hey man, I'm the only one that can talk
Yeah,
stuff about
right?
my mom,
I
not
mean,
you.
you remember those days, like,
keep your
man,
shut.
my mom would yell at me all the time. So,
Yeah, she did wear combat boots, size 12, by the way, but you can't say that.
yeah. Too funny.
Go pound sand.
No, that's a lot.
But yeah,
Yeah.
ego probably got more people in the fights than anything
Yeah,
else.
I think so.
And in the jail.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because Grandmaster Harry Green, we've talked about that. Hey man, you want to fight? Go find somebody else, because I ain't getting sucked into it. You
Yeah.
know, there's too much to lose, and especially after what I went through with the one guy. If I don't have to put my hands on another human being, then I'm all cool with that. And I would rather say, you know what, man, you have a nice day. Hey, I'm sorry that you misunderstood what I said, and
Right.
walk away. I
mean, I've
That's hard
actually,
for
yeah,
people
you're
to
right.
do,
I am
yeah.
an asshole. See you later.
Right,
man.
yeah, it is true about your mom, by the way.
You're right. Exactly. as you walk away.
As you walk away.
Yeah.
Is he following? Is he following? Is he right behind me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Checking with.
Too funny. Hey, you do your training stuff, and like I said, I've seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So later on, as we do at the end of most of our videos, we would love a demo.
Okay.
And I have a great Uki right there sitting next to you.
Cool. I love it.
Where are we at?
Oh,
Where'd he
we're
go?
good. We're good. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
No, we're still good. We're still under it.
Okay, good, because I wanted to talk some more. Now, Michael Huron,
Yeah.
great man.
Yep.
I love that guy.
Love him too.
He was one of the first FMA people who actually liked us. You know, because usually we get a lot of stink eye things from, because Danny is different. I mean, our system is a little different than everybody else. We're not traditional,
Right.
and we've had a couple of people approach us saying, "Hey, you know, you guys shouldn't be doing that and this and that," and the way you know,
You
you're
guys
not,
doing your own thing, man.
right. But I think at the time, Michael was the only one
Yeah.
who understood that and liked us and said, "Yeah, you know, yeah, use my name for whatever you want." We're like, "No, we're cool, but you know, we're just trying to be nice guys." And we're not trying to step on everything. So this was just something Danny does. It's not a formal school of any kind. You know, we're just a bunch of guys who get together and teach each other stuff.
Yeah.
But Huron,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Well,
super nice guy. I mean,
yeah, and GM, you know, he looks at everything, but you know, we stay with what we know,
Right.
and we don't criticize other schools because we're not experts in that system, so we got nothing that we can
Really
say. And you know, and that goes into everything. You know, I fought in some great people out there, and it's what the students turn it into.
right. Yeah,
Right.
that is definitely true.
You know, it's how the student is able to adapt and grow with that. You know, and that, I think that's with anything. I mean, I met some great fighters, lousy teachers. I met some lousy fighters, great teachers.
Right.
And everyone brings something to the table, and able to build a strong block, and everybody brings worth to the table.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so you know, with GM, we don't criticize anybody's school.
Yeah, well,
You
and
know.
that's what I liked about him. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, like I say, he was one of the first few who actually said, "Hey, yeah, come on over. I have this thing Thursdays. Come over. Come have a drink with me." You know.
Yeah, Thursdays are great.
Yeah.
You know, because that, I mean,
I'm not just doing this to kiss up to you to get you on the
Yeah.
show, Mike. GM.
well,
Although-
you know,
Although, yeah.
you know, and that's funny because, like, yeah, we do our Thursday, and that's
Yeah.
kind of our bonding.
How's the commute from Oregon to Thursday?
Yeah. When you drive, you know, 600 miles.
Just talk shit and have drinks.
All right, guys, I have a long drive to go.
Yeah. But I mean, we talk about everything, but
Yes, I
it's
remember.
building the tribe.
Yeah.
It builds that tribe, and you know, the other day, I watched the Konversation, the pit, about
Right.
that, you know, student instructor bonding.
Dynamics, yeah.
And back in the old days, it was instructor taught, student learned. At the end of class, you guys go your way.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I noticed,
you even said the
yeah,
same
but
thing.
I think
Yeah.
nowadays, when I look around, especially in the FMA community, because we are tribal,
Yeah.
everything is family bonding.
Yeah.
Family
Yeah,
bonding,
definitely.
you know, and while there's other schools, those are cousins, aunts, and uncles.
Yeah, you know, and
You
Mark,
know?
That's a great
Mike
point. That's a great
Cardenas
point, yeah.
had made
Yeah.
that point across
Yeah.
in the pit that he says, you know, I bring a person in, I talk to them, I say, you're going to be part of my family, so I really want to understand who
Yeah.
you are,
Right.
and whether you're going to fit into this family or not. And that is a tough thing for an instructor to try to weed out. Because
Yeah.
I know even for us, you know, I mean, we got lucky with this kid, but there are some people that have come and gone because, yeah, you're not a good fit.
What do you think people come and go for?
Either they don't like you or you don't like them. I mean, that's...
How about maybe that's not what it really is. Maybe that's the image because here's the hard part with the FMA is getting the students, because people go with flavor of the month.
Yes. Yeah. I know what that. I know. Yeah.
And I'm not mean that derogatory.
No,
but
you don't have to. But it is. You're right though. That's culture.
But I have watched when Steven Seagal came out, Aikido dojos, MMA came out, schools popped up everywhere. Jason Bourne came out, boom, 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 and we literally. I mean, one story, I won't say the school or anything, but it was comical. They were advertising, 1 month free gi and everything else. And a lady calls up and goes, "Do you teach Krav Maga?" And it's like,
we do now.
no, we don't. But some people, and I think some people get into a stereotype of, I want to be like Doug Marqueta. I want to be like Tony Jai. I want to be, like this or like that. And they find out this is what they studied, and then they get there and they find out it isn't what they thought.
They have a preconceived notion of what it should be.
Yeah, we've had people come and say, "Oh, when do we get to do the things that I see on?" Yeah, no, we're not doing that shit.
Or people come in and they realize that, with the FMA, that, oh man, you're cutting people.
That scares them.
That is for some of the students we had trouble with.
Can't they just hold them in place?
Yeah, we've actually had people say, "You're hitting me."
Yeah,
you're in a fight.
You're in a fight, man. Someone's trying to kill you. Someone's trying to cave your head in with a baseball bat. Good luck. With that. So I think sometimes it isn't just a student-instructor relationship.